Hi everyone, कैसे हैं आप सब? Welcome back and thank you so much for your response and your feedback. It's highly appreciated. So now we will be talking about the four components of IELTS. I will try to break them into smaller parts so that it's easier to understand. Firstly, you have to understand that your speaking test is separately taken as compared to the rest other three tests. The reading, writing, and listening tests are conducted together and there is no break between them. Whereas the speaking test is conducted separately. It can be 7 days before the test of your reading, writing, and listening, or a day before, or maybe some days after. But these three will not be conducted together with the speaking. Now, let's move on and talk about speaking first. In your speaking component, the test it ranges from 11 to 14 minutes. There will be an examiner sitting in front of you in a room, and this contains of three sections. Number one. The number one section, part one, would contain some introductory questions such as what's your name, where do you live, and all that stuff, just to get you comfortable, and there will be a short question and answer session between you and the examiner. The whole test would be recorded. Now moving on to section 2. Section 2 is basically a cue card section in which the examiner hands you a cue card with a topic you have to speak about for a minimum of 2 minutes. Don't worry, because you'll get approximately 1 minute to prepare for the whole conversation. Now moving on to part 3, that's the discussion section. Based on your questions in part 2, the cue card, you will receive 5 to 6 open-ended questions from the examiner on which you have to discuss about the details and add some examples there. Therefore, these are the 3 sections of speaking. Tips for speaking: be relaxed, try to speak fluently and coherently, and do not fear the examiner, and maintain a good eye contact. Let's move on to reading. Reading contains of 3 sections and total of 40 questions. It's of 60 minutes, 1 hour, and while you are marking your answers in the question paper, you have to transfer your answers simultaneously because you don't get any extra time at the end of the examination. Now we will move on to the writing section. The writing component itself is as similar to reading in terms of time because it is also of 1 hour. It contains 2 sections. Section 1 is your summary, in which you will be provided with an image, maybe a bar chart, a graph, some image, or maybe a process, and you have to summarize that in your text. The minimum word limit is 150 words. If you write below these words, you'll get a penalty for that. Now, section 2. You will receive few essays which you can choose from, and the minimum word limit is 250 words. For part 1, you have 20 minutes, and for part 2, you have 40 minutes to implement based on their weightage. Now moving on to the listening part. You have 40 minutes for your listening examination. It consists of 40 questions and 4 sections in total. So section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. You have to wear a headset and listen to the questions while simultaneously transferring the answers in your answer sheet. At the end of your exam, you get approximately 10 minutes to transfer your answers, whereas in reading you don't get that time. So this was the brief conclusion of the 4 components of IELTS examination. Hope you find all this information helpful and resourceful. I will try to cover them in detail as we move and we progress through this series. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. Bye.